We are working on arm triangles for the remainder of this week. The curriculum was the leg triangles and arm triangles. Let's get here on. Let's make his cheeks a little bit rosier than when he walked in. All right, so Hiram's going to be here, guys. We're going to talk about end game really quickly. We're going to make sure that we're all on the same page with the end game, and then we're going to see some setups on how to end up there. So you're going to be on the bottom here. All right, so some common issues with the arm triangle. So anytime I have this control, the most common issue is there's a space between my elbow pit and his neck, right? So here I can squeeze Hiram as much as I want to. I'm never going to be able to cut off the flow from his carotids to his head, right? So what you need to do is you got to make sure that your bicep is flush. That's going to be one. Number two, your skull has to be connected to their skull so they don't talk on the phone. And number three, a lot of people, their hips are turning this way. That means your weight is this way. What you need to do is you need to put the knee onto the hip and you got to face your training partner just like this. So here my hands are open. If I do a tiny little squeeze, my training partner taps, right? So it becomes really, really, really tight, right? So to adjust, what I'm gonna have to do is push, and my pinky is gonna slide and walk across the mat. So if like it's like a little shallow, all you gotta do is just shimmy, 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 shimmy. It's nice and flush. Head connected to their head, knee goes onto their hip, sprawl, do a little tiny squeeze, and now you're able to get the finish. All right, so it's really, really strong. The knee on the hip is very important so that they don't put their knee in regard, so that they don't walk their legs away, they don't backflip. There's a lot of different things that they're able to do. So if you put your knee onto the hip, that's going to eliminate a lot of those problems, right? So let's get comfortable with those mechanics. If he's not resisting, you should be able to do it with one hand and one hand only. If you have a setup that is correct, that you've been doing for a while, that you know how to end up here, do it. Otherwise, just start an end game. Get that feel, talk to your training partner. How does this feel? Oh, okay, cool, I got it. And then after that, we're going to see a setup, how to get out of a leg entanglement and attack the person's, our training partner's neck. All right, let's go. We are going to review a move that Super Dave was teaching in the leg lock curriculum month, how to escape the single leg X, and then it leads us directly into this position. Okay, so here I'm just going to have me in a single leg X guard. And for the more experienced students, I want you to think how you're going to end up there. Don't just start there. Do any kind of setup that ends you in the single leg X guard, and then the technique is going to start. But for the sake of today, we're already just going to start in the single leg X guard. Okay, so first of all, two things that I don't want to do when I'm on top of the single leg X guard. The first thing that I don't want is I don't want to have my training partner or opponent grab my second leg. They grab my second leg, I'm done. They're going to be able to take me down or make me post on the floor with my hands, etc. I don't have any balance like this. It's going to be really difficult for me to do almost anything if they have both of my legs. So immediately I'm stripping that grip and I'm stepping back. Or like, what's a setup into the single leg X that you want to do?
Shin to shin.
All right, so he has me in shin to shin. He's here, he goes for it, and as he goes for it, like already I'm taking this leg back and I'm already defending myself on the landing. Okay, this is very, very important. The second thing is I don't want to do the Titanic. I call this Titanic. Some of my favorite students do the Titanic, where start to like sweep me a little bit. They go like this. No, don't do that. All right, because you're doing this, like this is not escaping the position. You're trying to reclaim your balance. Eventually, you're gonna fall. You want to have your hands here. You can catch your balance, but still have contact with your training partner. Okay, because you want to start to find ways to disassemble this position. Okay? It's very, very important. So don't just try to balance and things like that, right? So make sure you're here now. Right now, his foot is connected to my hip, right? So what I need to do, guys, is I got to pop my hip forward. When I pop my hip forward, look how that foot comes off my body, right? So here, it's connected to my body. When I pop my hip, it comes off my body. I take a pushing grip on his pinky toe. This hand, I'm going to pull. This hand, I'm going to push. I'm doing whatever it takes to make sure that my knee goes on the floor on the other side. So if I push, I'm going to push his leg away, and then I go just like this with my knee on the floor. Here, it's very important, guys, that I'm sitting on my training partner on Hiram. Because if my weight is off of him, he can start to take my back, he can start to do a lot of different things, right? So again, you need to make sure that when you're here, you're sitting on them, and it's difficult for them to sit up. Now, I'm already feeling what's happening. I don't need to see it. Of course, I'm going to use my eyes when I'm going to look to go right underneath his neck. I'm going to finish the spin, and I'm going to get to end game when I land. So as I do this, look, in one shot, I connect our skulls, and my bicep is already flush to his neck. All I got to do is just take my knee right onto the hip, connect my hands together in a gable grip, and now engage my lats, sink everything in, get nice and low, and finish the choke, all right? The finishing mechanics, guys, comes from my back, all right? It doesn't come from my arms. That's why, like rear naked choke grip, it can work, but it's not ideal because you're engaging your biceps mostly, all right? But a gable grip, you're now able to engage your chest, your lats, and you're able to sink and melt into your training partner's neck, all right? So again, once more, Hiram has me in a single leg X guard. Okay, so part A is I'm balancing. Part B, my hands are on him. I'm trying to keep good control over here. I pop my hip, I grab the pinky toe, I push it off of my hip, and I'm gonna spin and put my knee onto the floor and to this side. All right, guys, don't get lazy here, because if your knee comes back in, you're back in trouble. They can start to attack your legs, right? So, or your back. So make sure that you go right over here and you're sitting on them. This hand now goes underneath his armpit. And as I spin, look, I'm gonna flatten him out head to head. And now knee goes right onto the hip, sinking myself nice and low, a little tiny squeeze, and you're gonna get the job done. All right, so let's reenact what happens when they're flat. As a part 2, we're gonna do what happens when they're on their side. All right, we have a part 2 that's gonna come in a little bit. All right, let's go guys. So for Sam and for others, right, like when this move is done to me, right, like when Hiram does this on me, right, I have him in the single leg X guard, okay, and I'm here, okay, and then Hiram pops it, and he starts to do it. I'm not gonna be just like this, chilling, you know, I'm like here, trying to push him. He's coming at me, I'm trying to, give me a little space, starts to do, but give me a little space. I'm trying, go. No, hold on, don't do the move, give me a little space, I'm saying. Start to pass, start to go. I'm trying to push to get my legs back in. Does that make sense? And while that's happening, I'm exposing myself for the arm triangle, right? If you're just laying down, yeah, it's gonna be hard to get arm triangle, but it's a little bit unrealistic too. Guys, sometimes, right, you know, the person is coming at you like a truck. So as soon as they start to go that, and I see that everything is kind of lost, I know that I may get caught here. I know that if he starts to pass, and I take turtle, all right, that sometimes, you know, he is gonna miss the back take, and I have an opportunity to face him again and regard, and I only lost an advantage as opposed to like risking the 3 points. So sometimes a person is gonna be on a little bit on their side slash turtle, okay? We're gonna intercept that piece, and we're gonna do a fusion. We're gonna do an arm triangle and rear naked choke fusion, all right? So let's discuss. So once we're here, all right, as soon as I do the same exact motion, and as I'm going, I'm reaching underneath, I recognize that they're a little bit on their side. What I want to do is I want to drop my weight behind them to make it a little bit harder for them to turtle. I'm making a grip on my training partner. Now what I need to do is I need to get my knee close to their head, similar to what I would be doing if I'm doing a chair sit, but except I'm going to lengthen this arm, I'm going to grab my bicep, and now I'm going to go into an RNC grip. I can for sure finish him right over here, or I can start to sit into my chair sit, throw my leg over, start to finish him at this angle. I can take him all the way over, finish him here. A lot of times I'm just gonna find my way to the back and score and get my 4 on my training partner. All right, so it just depends. All right, if you have like really long arms like Big Will, you're gonna find this very comfortable. If you have like shorter, thick arms, maybe less so. All right, so it just depends. Sometimes you turn into a back take. Sometimes you can hit this kind of like RNC slash fusion. The reason is, like, if my training partner is on their side, this gable is not gonna work. Does that make sense? Like, I just can't, like, there's nothing to cover the space. I need to somehow drill his shoulder into the top carotid. So for that reason, the RNC in this one is gonna be the best way to do that. My chest covering his back, and if I do a little bit of squeeze, he starts to feel it, all right? It becomes a pretty strong position. But if you wanna loosen it up slightly and just take your standard seatbelt and then use that as a back take, could be even better. For some of us, you can feel a little bit more comfortable with that. All right, so again, once you're doing this position, if you feel like your training partner is on their side, adjust accordingly and start to go for an RNC grip, start to go for your seatbelt, Kimura grip, back take, or that like combination of arm triangle and rear naked choke together. All right, so again, they're here. Everything is exactly the same. Back stepping, hip thrust forward, clearing, this hand goes underneath, and right away I'm already aiming to get to this position. As you can see, Hiram is a little bit bigger than me, big arms, so it's a little bit hard for me to close it up. If he was my size or smaller, it'd be a little bit easier. So it's all size dependent as well. I wouldn't say this is a move that you can do on somebody a weight or 2 weight classes above you, but if they're in your weight class or lower, it could be a really nice position to do and really tough to get out of as well. All right, let's go.